Asking for permission is a huge problem in our profession and in life. Like, we seem like we need to ask permission to be successful, or ask permission to do different things, or ask permission for anything. And we have this weird ingrained culture in primarily healthcare, but also a bit of corporate America and our culture in Western society. This idea that we need permission for X, Y, or Z. We need permission to pursue things, to be successful, to break out of the mold, to create new things, to disrupt, to innovate, to whatever. We need somebody's blessing. Somebody needs to sign off on this before we pursue it. And I think that is one of the dumbest things that we've inherited as a culture, or at the very least have continued. You know, because there's always been a purpose in the traditional sense of why we've had, you know, something in our culture, whichever culture it is, ethnic, regional, if it's a professional culture, corporate culture, national culture, whatever it is, right? There's always some kind of reason that we have inherited some type of thing. And I feel like in physio, in healthcare, in developing yourself professionally, we seem to have this weird culture that we need to have permission to do something. And I think that's one of the worst things to have, is this need to, you know, like, permission from each other to do things, when really the only permission we need is our own and our audiences. And I mean that in a general sense. Like, if you're a private practitioner, or if you're a healthcare provider, you don't need your colleague to tell you it's okay to be better, or it's okay to try something new that's been proven to be better, or it's okay to market differently rather than, you know, lump everything into one bundle of physician referral sources. It's okay to move on past mailers or even email marketing into direct message marketing. It's okay to open up your clinic with a health and fitness facing brand rather than just billing for CPT codes, which is kind of the problem to begin with. It's perfectly excellent to move beyond permissions. We don't need to give each other permissions or accept each other's permissions before we move on to better things. We need to just go ahead and flipping do it. And that's kind of just the problem. It's like, this actually came from this viral video on YouTube. Most of you guys know, you know, I study martial arts. I've studied martial arts most of my life. It started with me being bullied. You know, this is viral video on YouTube. There was a bare knuckles match, basically, between a Tai Chi master, or self-proclaimed Tai Chi master, with a super, you know, fancy hidden style that, you know, is just, you know, throwing fireballs and crap like that. And then an MMA coach in northern China who studies legit, you know, Muay Thai and Sanshou and Sambo, Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that kind of stuff. And I studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai, just started picking up Thai boxing, which has been awesome. And, you know, lo and behold, magic fireballs, you know, did not seem to, you know, make themselves known in that fight. And this poor Tai Chi master got pummeled in the ground, and I think he got a concussion. And what was even crazier was that the MMA coach was sent into hiding because of all of these death threats on, you know, the Chinese Facebook, Weibo. They have kind of their own closed system. And I was like, what the crap is that? Like, the entire culture of China failed to give permission to reality. Like, let's just kind of put it that way, okay? The reality is, if not properly applied, Tai Chi remains to be a wellness, fitness, balance type, quote, martial art, not a combative martial art. Not that it's good, not that it's bad, but if you use it for the wrong thing, you're gonna get knocked out. You're gonna get pummeled in the ground. Same with jiu-jitsu. Like, the moment you put knife fighting in a jiu-jitsu fighter's hands and you ask him to grapple, he's gonna get stabbed 100 billion times and then die, right? Same thing in our healthcare, you know, situations. Like, certain things, we need medication. If it's like an actual chemical inflammatory process in our body, we need that. But we also need to stop asking permission to do that first as our first barrier of entry before you go down the rabbit hole of imaging and then MRIs, then refer, defer, and then finally getting to see the provider you need. Same with, if you are the provider you need, you don't need to, you know, you don't need to ask permission from your other referral sources to do the right thing. You don't need permission as, say, an entry-level clinician. I hate that term, entry-level clinician, to do the right thing, even if your seniors are still back in, you know, the dungeon doing traction and ultrasound for every single low back patient, failing to load them, failing to desensitize the central nervous tissues, failing to educate the patient that they have control over their pain and control over their body experiences. You don't need permission to make 6 figures out of graduate school. You don't need permission to own a business while you're in undergrad. You don't need permission to pursue excellence when you see it right there and it's knocking at the door. You don't need permission to open that door. You just need to flipping do it. And I'm just a little bit angsty and tired of it, because coming back from Maryland is really lit a fire for me, because this idea of recharge, that Dr. Gene Shiragrad, Dr. Ryan Smith, myself, we started in Maryland as a fitness first, CrossFit mindfulness, kind of a collaborative disruptive element, where instead of pursuing health as basically symptom whack-a-moles, but getting in front of the problem and actually not even preventing. Like, I don't even like the idea of prevention anymore, because I feel prevention is still, in a way, it's playing whack-a-mole. It's just that where the moles are going to appear. I'm talking about just clear the field of the moles and get ahead of the system. I'm talking about, instead of prevention, I'm talking about health promotion. And that is exactly what recharge and everything else we're trying to do there is trying to do, and trying to promote within itself, with a new mindset within healthcare and healthcare consumerism. You don't need permission to do these things. You just have to start doing it and fine tune it as you execute. It's like anything else. If you want to learn how to throw a punch, start throwing punches and have a coach to fine tune your technique. Start throwing punches, get a coach, study on yourself. If you need formal training, go get it. Right? Like, I needed formal training in business. So I got an MBA because I knew nothing about business prior, like nothing at all. It was terrible. And once you start throwing good punches, start throwing combinations. Once you start throwing combinations, start using, like different footwork and tactics, create angles for yourself so that you can maintain your competitive edge. But more importantly, you can be a shining example of what can be done. Because the more you help other people's win, the more they will help you win as well. I can't tell you how, from a business standpoint, I probably get the biggest ROIs from the content I put out that aren't lead magnets, that aren't, micro buys, that aren't, pay first and then, ask again. Some of the best things from a business sense that I do basically have no measures. Like, I have no direct measures, God forbid, right? I don't have a direct ROI measure of how much it costs to get that lead generation, or what the cost per user acquisition was, or what my percent ratio of ROI was. Like, I don't track that kind of crap with this free stuff I give out, because it's free. I don't want people to feel like they're a serial number in my data analytics. I want people to connect with me. I want people to develop meaningful lifelong relationships with me. That's why I started Pathfinders, and that's why we started different things like the PT Job Market Pulse, that quite honestly is probably data that we should be charging for because no one else has it. But we promised it'd be free, and I'm maintaining that for as long as I freaking can.